Chapter 7. Russia. Russia is the largest country in physical area, almost twice the size of the United States. The country extends from its European core, where most of the population live, across the Ural Mountains into Siberia and the Russian Far East, where residents have more economic and social connections with China than with Europe. A train journey from St. Petersburg to Vladivostok, the western and eastern termini, final point of the Trans-Siberian Railway, takes about 1 week of constant travel. No paved highways cross the entire country. The main part of Russia is so big that it requires 11 time zones. Russia includes world-class cities such as Moscow, with its many billionaires from and the famous Red Square, vast territories of the Arctic North, immense forests of Siberia, grain farms rivaling those in Kansas, and mountain communities in the Caucasus. Russia has complicated history of monarchy and totalitarianism, rich natural resources, extremes of wealth and poverty, and a slowly declining population. It is a dynamic country, transitioning from a communist state to part of the global economy. Russia is located in both Europe and Asia. The Ural Mountains are considered the separation boundary for the two continents. The Asian side of Russia is physically bordered by the southern Kazakhstan, Mongolia, and China, with an extremely short border shared with the tip of North Korea. The Amur River creates a portion of the boundary with China. In 2008, an agreement was signed to finalize the Amur River border that was disputed between Russia and China. The Pacific Ocean is to the east, with the Bering Strait separating Russia from North America. The Arctic Ocean creates the entire northern boundary of Russia, stretching all the way from Norway to Alaska. The Arctic Ocean can be covered with ice for much of the long winter season. Russia is a northern country with the majority of its physical area above the latitude of 50 degrees north. The Arctic Circle runs the entire length through the middle of the northern half of the country. The boundaries of European Russia include its southern border in the Caucasus Mountains with Georgia and Azerbaijan. This portion of Russia protrudes south of 50 degrees latitude. The Caucasus Mountains are the tallest mountain chain in Russia and Europe. The Black Sea and the Caspian Sea create natural boundaries on either side of the Caucasus Mountains. The main borders with Eastern Europe include the large countries of Ukraine and Belarus. Farther north, Russia borders Latvia, Estonia, Finland, and Norway. European Russia is much smaller than its Asian counterpart, but is the dominant core area for the country anchored by the capital city of Moscow. Russia covers a huge area, so we will break down the specific regions and look at them over the next few pages. In the meantime, here are some things Russia is famous for, as well as little pieces of its culture. Russian cuisine deserves its varied Russian cuisine derives its varied character from the vast and multi-ethnic expanse of Russia. Its foundations were laid by the peasant food of the rural population in an often harsh climate, with a combination of plentiful fish, pork, poultry, caviar, mushrooms, berries, and honey. There are so many different ethnic groups in Russia with their own food traditions, so we'll just cover some of the stereotypical Russian food in the pictures. Traditional Russian costume consists of straight flowing lines. The sarafan is a long Russian jumper dress worn by girls and women. They originally had a tighter form, but became wider through the influence of the Russian Orthodox Church. Russia's number of ethnic groups have distinctive traditions regarding folk music. Folk music had a significant influence on Russian classical composers, including Tchaikovsky, a Russian composer of the Romantic period. Tchaikovsky is famous for composing the music for the ballets The Nutcracker and Swan Lake. If you love books, you may want to check out some of these novels set in Russia, including The Bear and the Nightingale and The Wolf Wilder. Outline of Russia's historical geography. Now that we've looked at an overview of Russia, let's take a quick tour of Russia's long history. I'll make things easy on you by summing it up with an outline. 1. The region's early heritage. Vikings created fortified trading towns called Gorods. Genghis Khan's Mongol Empire invaded, Feudal states arose and around dominant trading centers. 2. Tsarist Russia, 1547 to 1917. Tsars unified empire and internal colonialism. Forward capital of St. Petersburg created. Pioneers pushed eastward to Siberia and North America. 3. Bolshevik Revolution, 1917 to 1922. Tsar Nicholas II and his family executed. Russian Civil War fought. Vladimir Lenin created communist imperial state. Capital moved to Moscow. Republics broke away. 4. The Soviet Union, or the USSR, 1922 to 1991. Tsarist Empire became the Soviet Union. Central planning, collectivization, and the Cold War began. Republics kept together by military force. External interaction of glasnost initiated in the 1980s. Economic restructuring and reforms of perestroika introduced in the 1980s. 5. The Russian Republic, 1991 to present. Independent republics lost with internal unrest. Economics privatized. Democracy introduced in the 1990s. Central state strengthened in the 21st century.